I want to like.
You already did this bit.
Well, I had the same opinion here, just better this time. This is Ingress. Apparently I was writing down some translating code from a game I was playing on top of the sheet. Having had some time at my disposal with... Okay, never mind, sorry. It's a fun game, I'll put it here. To be clear, the poignant moment for me is unsurprisingly the climax. Well, the last episode anyway, since the climax isn't really one scene. But to explain that, I'll have to touch on the whole show's pacing. If you've heard of, or at least played, Ingress, you'll be a bit ahead on what to expect. If you've never heard of the game, it's a mobile game, essentially King of the Hill, or rather multiple hills, since you're capturing portals for your team. It's an augmented reality game, so there's like multiple portals, or magical portals anyway, that open up all around the planet, at historical monuments or key points of importance. The mysterious force behind these portals, and indeed all the mysterious occurrences, is a newly discovered energy called exotic matter, or XM for short. Shouldn't it call it EM? I guess it wouldn't call it huh? It is linked to an alien race called the Shapers. Team Green, the Enlightened, like the aliens, while the blue team, the Smurfs, the Resistance, does not like the aliens. The point in this never-ending battle is to control the most territory fields in your color, get the most points, and hinder, or at least somewhat hinder, the other team. The game is, I believe, still going, but Niantic is focusing more on Go at this point, I believe. This theme was carried over pretty well into the anime series, again on Netflix, although hyped up somewhat, of course. A lady survives an accident involving an XM explosion and is being hunted. Makoto, a detective with the ability to read the memories of objects or people he touches, who later goes into the green team, and Jack, an agent who can predict future immediate events. These two get caught in a kerfuffle with said lady, involved in the whole conspiracy with her. Oh, her name's Sarah, by the way, and an unknown shadow organization. No, not you. I don't think. The series is the usual elongated cat and mouse plot between Makoto and Jack until about episode 4, when they have to work together. The writers and animators do a pretty good job at including in-game mechanics for symbols, and it's even implied that the mobile game is being played in-show, if not directly integrated into the show. It is their own IP, so that makes sense. At some point, the show adds in Dark XM as an evil force and pushes the main characters to get to the secret lab of the main evil guy, who has captured Sarah. Fairly standard, but not a bad thing. But it's the lab phase around episode 9 that I argue the climax starts. Up to this point, we see the characters in a pretty simple way, but then we see a break in Jack and Sarah about halfway. The characters get a lot deeper, where you see a lot more of their personality and backstory, versus Makoto, who really takes a lot longer to grow into a character he is meant to be, and quite abruptly. I like the approach though, since not only does Makoto provide at least half the driving force behind the show, but also a good baseline for the viewer as the show changes. We also find out that the lady, Sarah, is also able to be used as a conduit, sort of, in order to tap into the unknown reaches of the network of Dark XM or XM in general, and understand the universe and control it and such. This took a show I thought was bland and made it a little unique. It builds to a twist of Jack finding out, spoilers by the way, that he's dead. Or rather, has been dead, like the old him that was Jack died years ago, and then this clone of him, which was made of dark exotic matter, taking over the will and role that Jack had himself. There are actually several twists back to back, which can be a bit much, that one being included, but it reinforces one of the aspects of the show. There's always another layer to something, to a story or reality. Then you find out that the first scientist who caused the first explosion that Sarah was involved in, put into cyberspace. Just into cyberspace, or whatever I think it's cyberspace. And Sarah and Makoto, along with all the other players of the game Ingress, work together to unite all XM and defeat the bad guys. It's kind of fast, but at the same time, it also brings the characters' roles and strengths to light in a really specific but really cool way. And the cherry on top is that after that's all over, it's hinted that Jack, despite his body literally falling apart throughout all this, might still be alive, and that Makoto is now so much more knowledgeable and stronger after it's all done. They go out to seek maybe if Jack's still there. Maybe he's out there somewhere, and that's where the show kind of ends. Now don't get me wrong, this show has its faults, minor ones. Over-reliance on flashbacks or previous plot points is kind of annoying, and while a lot of the minor events of the first half seem inconsequential, the characters wouldn't have the sense of being so fleshed out that they do by the series' end if we didn't observe all the seemingly mundane events that built up their rapport. It helps to keep the viewer grounded in a world of constant action of supernatural events. That's the other part of the show that I took away, at least, was balance. Whether it's from quiet times in a cyber cafe to running for your life from the bad guys and guns, to being in-game or real life, even the dichotomy of the enlightened and resistance, for or against the aliens. in the end, how they're both brought together as one common movement. I am getting really philosophical, I am sorry. Anyway, this series and its end stuck with me, and it's at least 7 out of 10, if not, I'd say it's a 7 out of 10 in my book, but still a really good show. If you have Netflix, give it a watch and see if it catches your fancy. And then see if Ingress even loads on your phone or if the servers are up, because I can never get them to work, and if they don't work, I just go back to playing Go, I guess. Well, they have the Harry Potter game now, like Harry Potter Pokemon Go. You might look it up too. I'll put it on the screen somewhere. It's kind of a cool thing. Check it out. Also by Niantic. Thanks, guys. Bye.